وعلى آله صحبه من والاه. First of all, we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we pass salutation upon his messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. This is tonight is just for questions only. There's no reminders, and no reminders will be embedded in the questions inshallah and in the answers. So let's go ahead with the questions. Hassan, start with the question that I've given you from the beginning. You've had the question from the beginning?
Yes, Sheikh. Bismillah. Okay, question number one. Salamu alaikum. Years ago, I had several miscarriages and childbirth, and during a time, I missed making up Ramadan. Do I have to fast what I missed, or fast and pay for every day, or fast and feed the poor?
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. To answer this question, first of all, we need to tell the person if she is on her menses or she is on her postnatal blood, then she may not fast. She's not allowed to fast. So when we say that she had a miscarriage, okay, she had a miscarriage, that means she was pregnant. She was pregnant now, part of Ramadan, and then she had the miscarriage, then she's going to have blood. Let's say that this blood had been running through the whole and the rest of Ramadan. So this, when she's got this postnatal blood, she's not allowed to fast. She has to make up for these days. But for the days when she was pregnant, if she fasted them, she had fasted them. But if she doesn't want to fast them, then there is 5 madhabs regarding this issue. 5 madhab. So if you want to go to the Google, you're going to shop around with the fatwa. So you're going to ask me, I'm going to give you what I think and I believe is correct, because this is from a hadith and narrations. We don't depend just solely upon, basically a logical process to derive the fatwa. If we have something which is a nas, we will stick to the nas, which is the text. So the woman who is pregnant and also the woman who is breastfeeding, okay, they have the choice of the following: either to fast, or if they don't want to fast, whether regardless they were afraid of themselves or not afraid of themselves or afraid of their babies. And you're going to see other scholars say it's not halal for them to break the fast if they are not having fear on themselves or on their babies. On themselves, that means they're not going to be able to fast, or on the babies, maybe they're not going to have the proper feeding if they are breastfeeding, or the proper feeding if she's pregnant. You're going to hear lots of other sayings as well. So we say that Abdullah ibn Abbas, also Abdullah ibn Umar, and also other scholars, and we have these other Sahaba, which we don't have any difference from them. No other Sahaba had opposed them. Their understanding, especially Abdullah ibn Abbas, regarding the ayah, the verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. And on to those who are able to fast, but with difficulty, then there is fidya. Fidya means feeding the poor person. That's like a word for it, ransom. Okay, so Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said thabata, and this is like it's like from the Prophet ﷺ. And also these 2 companions, Allah ibn Umar, Allah ibn Abbas. Allah ibn Umar, he had a daughter of his. She was married to a person from Quraysh, and she was pregnant, and somehow she was thirsty. And because she was thirsty, the Abdullah ibn Umar, he commanded her to break her fast and to feed for every poor person a meal. So to feed for every day a poor person a meal. So he commanded her to fast, to break her fast. So this is Abdullah ibn Umar, and also Abdullah ibn Abbas. And there's a narration also from Abdullah ibn Umar. He said that his wife himself, she had asked him when she was pregnant. So he said to her, she didn't tell him that whether she's afraid or scared on the baby or scared on herself. He said, aftiri, break your fast and feed a poor person for every day that you break the fast. Now, feeding the poor person either the food, which is from your normal food, the average, or you could give him as well, another narration from Abdullah ibn Abbas, half a sa', which is like about 1.5 kilos or 2 kilos of rice for every day you give him, or the rice, or anything to do with hinta, for example, the wheat, the flour, the wheat. Okay, so that is the fidya. We say that the woman, if she's pregnant or breastfeeding, she has the choice either to fast, or if she doesn't want to fast, then there is no such thing that she compensates by fasting the missed days. Who said that? Abdullah ibn Abbas. He said, وَلَا يَقْضِيَا, and they do not really compensate. So there's no compensation on the women who are pregnant or the breastfeeding. If she is on her menstruation, or if she is in her postnatal, okay, she must make up for those days. She must make up for those days. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Naam.
Okay, Chef. Question number 2. Is it allowed to decorate the house with Ramadan decorations?
Right, decoration the house in the month of Ramadan, it's either that this is going to be done because of ibadah, or it's because of ada. Ibadah means to worship, or it's because of ada, because of it is a habit. If it's a ibadah, it's not allowed, because we're not really having companions or the Prophet ﷺ, when Ramadan had arrived, they started to decorate their houses and all of that. Okay, so it is not really being seen from the Prophet ﷺ or the companions. So in all, it should be avoided. We should really decorate our houses with tawbah, decorate our houses with the recitation of the Quran, not with these people where they put, for example, a lantern, they hang it, or maybe a crescent on their windows. I've seen that. All of those are not really, they're not from the Sunnah at all. Even the crescent here does not represent Islam. It does represent the Turkish country, okay, a flag of the Turkey. So it is not representing Islam, this crescent. So basically, this is like to imitate the disbelievers in the way that they put a cross when they, for example, in their festivals. But we say avoiding. So if we're going to say it is allowed, it has to be with condition. Condition number 1, that you should not make this as to be, you should not consider this to be as a ibadah. So it is not a ibadah, it's a ada. And also, when you buy the decoration, it should not be extravagant. So you buy, some people, they make it really extravagant. Number 3, that you should not be, that is, having images that contains a human being or an animal, which is the head of an animal. That's haram in itself, regardless of which year you're going to be decorating your house with. And number 4, that you should not make the masajid decorated with that. The masjid should not be decorated. People should come and focus on the prayer, not focus upon ribbon, for such a thing. For me, I would say it's better to avoid it. And if it has got symbols, that is to imitate the kuffar, it will be forbidden. But if it is to be tolerant for, for example, for ada, for habit, to make the children feel that there is something, changed, yes, with these conditions I mentioned, inshallah, it will be okay. But I would say avoid it as much as possible, because the companions, Prophet of Allah, did not do it. Now.
Okay, Chef. Question 3. We had 2 similar questions, so we'll put them together. I'll just read both parts, inshallah. So the first part of it is the niqab fard or wajib? And it's linked to another question from another sister. Ruling in hijab, jilbab and niqab, and the difference of opinion about which one is the proper hijab, and what's the best opinion regarding this matter of hijab?
Okay, the niqab is, by the way, is not the hijab. The niqab, first of all, she said, is it fard or wajib? I don't know. I think she meant maybe is it mubah or mustahab or wajib, because fard and wajib is to be both. Is it compulsory or compulsory? So it's both compulsory. And I think the sister meant, is it like, for example, compulsory, or is it recommended, or is it compulsory, or it's permissible? So one of these two. First of all, the covering of the face, it is compulsory upon the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. All of them covered. As for the other companion wives, it is not compulsory, definitely, because we do have another narrations where the Prophet ﷺ spoke to women, they were not covering, and that was after the hijab. Like the woman, she was in Hajj, and that is in the last year of the Prophet's life, and she was having her face shown, because Al-Fadl, he was his cousin, looking at her face, and the Prophet of Allah, he was take his face away from her, and she was not in a state of ihram. Even in state of ihram, even if she was in state of ihram, the women are allowed to put covering, but not to put a niqab. So he did not command her to put something on top of her head, because it's not compulsory. But he started tilting or pushing away the face of Al-Fadl, because he was looking at her, because she was beautiful. So he was pushing it, and he was keep looking and pushing and keeps looking. She met him in Mina. That's after the state of ihram is finished. Okay, she met him in Emina and she was asking about her father's Hajj. So in that hadith and other hadith, hadith Saf'a al-Khaddain, if we're going to go to this issue, it's going to take the time. But we say it is not compulsory. It is recommended. Because, it will protect the women. But it becomes compulsory if the wali of the women had asked her to do so. So if the husband or the father, before she married, so the father, if he had said to her, you have to cover, then she has to cover. It becomes compulsory. She cannot leave unless she covering. And if her husband asked if she was married, and the wilaya, the authority will go to the husband asked her, wanted to be covered, then she has to be covered. It becomes compulsory because we know that the permissible things upon the wife, if the husband commands it, it becomes compulsory. So for example, it's permissible for her to leave. She said, don't leave. It's compulsory upon her not to leave. So that's inshallah the answer for the part of the niqab. As for the part of the hijab is different. The hijab is basically the hijab. It's called niqab. There is hijab. There is khimar. Okay, the hijab is basically the set, all of it, which is to do with the clothes and it's to do with covering the head or covering the face. All of it hijab. So this is hijab means the barrier. Hijab means the barrier. Allah Azza wa Jalla has got a barrier as well of nur. Hijabuhu nur, the light. Okay, so the hijab of the women is to cover her, okay, body, the covering, which it is not to show the color of her skin, not to show the size, so it's not really tight on her. It is not to be a color that would drag attention. So everybody's, for example, they go into like brown and black and all of this, and this woman, she's coming with a jilbab, which is really purple. Okay, everybody can look at her. Okay, so it should not be a beauty in itself. The hijab it should be a covering, not to drag people to look at her. Okay, also it should not be as well showing some things, like for example, and also not following the trend of the kuffar. Those are some of the conditions being listed, and the best book for that of the Sheikh Al-Albani rahimahullah, which is Hijab al-Mar'at al-Muslima, the hijab of the mar'a, the woman. And there is in English as well an approach by Sheikh, which is the translation of the book actually, Sheikh Muhammad Javadi rahimahullah, and he had made a book which is closer than a garment, and he's got silsila, number of books on this. One of them is to do with the jilbab, which is the covering of the women, and he will deal with it very good. There's 16 conditions listed regarding the hijab, and that is including the whole thing of the body, the covering of the body of the sisters, of the women. Now.
Okay, question 4. If a woman has her own money, can her husband tell her what to do or not to do with it? For example, I wanted to buy a microscope for me and my children to meditate on the creation of Allah, but he said it's a waste of money and made me feel bad about it. I didn't buy. Sorry?
No, sorry, you've been finished.
No. I didn't buy it, but is he right in doing so? Can I buy with my own money even if he advised me otherwise? Is that a sin? It's not if it's not just a microscope, many other things. It's always the same thing.
Okay, she needs the sister to know that she is with her husband, basically fulfilling a role here, and they are completing one another. They're not really two opponents. They're trying to, fight. Who is the winner? It doesn't work. So we have a lion, lioness. We have a man, we have a female. We have a master, we have a slave. Okay, we can't have two masters. We can't have two slaves. It has to be, somebody's running the show. And the Prophet ﷺ described the sisters, and this is hadith sahih. إِنَّهُنَّ عَوَانٌ عِنْدَكُمْ. Look after them. They are like the slaves with you, because they're not allowed to go unless you tell them to go. They're not allowed to do this until they do. So you have your own money, okay? And he's not entitled to take from that money without your permission. But that money, when you want to spend it now, if you want to spend it, for example, onto the house, it has to be with his permission. Onto his children, it has to be with his permission. So imagine that he's coming back and he sees, for example, a fridge. Where is it coming from? I bought it. Even though that you think this is a nice gesture, but it's going to provoke him because he is the man who's supposed to, bring these things. So it would have been good from you, play your cards right, tell him that, we want to buy a fridge. Okay, he's not able. So, okay, take this money, go and buy a fridge. So he feels that he's buying it rather than to go and surprise him, give him, I would say, not surprise, give him a shock that he finds, for example, announce something which is belong to the house. Now, as for your spending on yourself, like for example, you want to buy your car, your own car, okay? You're entitled for that, okay? But we say from the good husn al-mu'ashara is to tell him, I want to buy a car. Get him involved. When you think, well, you're not going to say to you, non-buy a car, but when it's to do with buying things to the house or to the children, it has to be with his permission. And even it's your money, okay? So you can't surprise him with something like, but if you bought for yourself, we say to you, as when you buy something for yourself, you consult him as out of good conduct. And as I said, play your card right. Don't make it like an opponent here. He is a husband, and he has to feel that he's a master. And you are a sister. You have to fulfill your role as the master of the house in terms of making sure that the children are brought up properly, making sure that everything's looked after. So you are the master of the house. For example, as I said a number of times to the sisters, you are the one who is putting, for example, his bed in this side and this plate in this side. You don't like your husband to come to the kitchen and start playing around with the. That's your kingdom. Okay, so the husband has no right, for example, if he sees, for example, that you have decided to put your bed into the kitchen to sleep there. So, okay, but it's from the good conduct, I would say, because you are the master of the house. He's the master of the whole family. Play your card right, inshallah, there'll be no problem. Fadal.
Okay, question number 5. My husband has many good qualities. His mother and sisters are very kind to me too. My problem is, within the last 4 years, I don't feel attracted by him at all. I really hate kissing him on the lips and other things related to it.
Right. So that means you don't have any affection towards your husband. You don't have any love towards your husband. That's what it means. And you are just by saying that he's good and everything. So I'm sure that if you don't do that, you don't give him what he wants, that's his sexual desires, he will not be happy with that. It will drive him actually to be out of his norm and behave in a way which you're not going to be approving. So of course, the husband, he has to, take from his wife what he married her for, which is the children, and enjoy himself with her. And one of that is the kissing. And the kissing is allowed. Prophet ﷺ used to kiss his wives on the mouth as well. So kissing on the mouth, kissing, and this is left for the husband and the wife to this is their private life. But for you to say that, then I should really investigate. Why am I hating this? Maybe I don't like him as a person. Like you said, I'm not attracted to him. So he might be going looking for another wife because of you're not attracted to him. He would look for another wife. He would be attracted to her. So if you want to go to that channel, okay, it's your I would say it's your right. But if you don't want to, for example, hang on with him, you could ask him for a khula. Okay, so either you're going to give him. So if he had demanded you to kiss him on the lips and you did not, then you have sinned. You have sinned because you did not allow him to enjoy him. He wants to enjoy you as a wife. You cannot just make a sexual harassment onto him. So if you can't do that, that means maybe either you would just say to him, go get married to another wife and release me, or get another wife. You encourage him to do that because he has to, as I said, drive and channel his desires in the right way. You don't want him to go and fornicate with the other billah, or do the secret habits with the other billah. He wants to enjoy himself halal way with the wife. Now,
question 6. I have a polycystic ovary which causes my menses to be irregular, so I may not have it for 2 months, but when it starts can be very heavy and last for a whole month. Should I pray, and if during Ramadan, fast after it has ended completely, or should I consider it to be an illness and fast and pray after 10 days?
Well, what is that symptom that she's got? Can you explain it to me, Hassan?
No, it's basically the menses last for about a month. So usually it lasts 7 days or whatever. It's lasting a whole month.
No. I said she said at the beginning something.
Oh,
Medical terminology. I don't understand.
Polycystic ovary.
Yeah.
That's the medical condition. Allahu A'lam.
So if you don't know it, I don't know it as well. Right. If she has got some sort of problem health-wise that's making her menses to be basically irregular, she has one of two, not three, one of two cases. Either she had menses before, she had this problem. Then when she has this blood, heavy blood for a month, she will time herself exactly the days that she used to have them when she was healthy. So when she was healthy, for example, at the beginning of the month, she established for 7 days. So at the beginning of the month, she will have 7 days. That's for her menses, and the rest she will disregard this discharge of the blood and can resume her prayers and her fast. Second case that she didn't know, because maybe it was her first time. She's a young girl. She's having the symptoms from the beginning, so she did not have a customary period that she used to have before. This one she will choose, which we call it the predominant customary period. Predominant, which is about 6 to 7 days. So she chooses 7 days from those months to be her menses, and the rest she has to resume her fast and her prayer. Now,
question 7. It's a little bit long, Sheikh. I would like to ask if the following is magic. I visited my mum back home and she prepared water for me to drink in a jug. And there was a note above it on the kitchen cupboard that when I drink this water, it will cause her to think clearly, etc. My mum hates my husband and she and my sister think that I am oppressed. So she prepared this water for me. My mum is not a Muslim, but left Christianity and has been learning a lot about fortune telling, things like tarot cards and many other things. They consider white magic as something permissible, which means magic but wanting good, like love someone or make them think in a different way, etc.
Hassan, the question when are you going to finish? It's a long question. Have you finished?
No.
Okay, what's the question?
So the question is basically, she thinks her mother is involved in black magic, basically. And
what's the question? I didn't hear the question. What does she want me to talk about?
I want to know if at the beginning, so I would like to ask if the following is magic.
Allahu A'lam. I don't know if she's magic or not, but you should not be drinking from something which you feel you're not comfortable with, especially if you have just said that the background of your mother, she's not a disbeliever, she's not a believer, she was a Christian and she left the Christianity to something which is worse, and that is believing in fortune telling, which is shirk, pure shirk, and all of that. So she's not. Before she was from Ahl Kitab, we could really eat even her slaughtering an animal. Now we can't. If you slaughter an animal, I can't eat it from her because she is becoming now, outside even the people of the book. So if you are not in, we can't say it's magic or not, but she is practicing magic. Allahu Akbar. Now.
Okay, question 8. Is it permissible for a woman to pay her zakat to her husband if he is a student of knowledge and studying abroad?
Before you do, there is a sister, she's writing questions in Arabic. I urge you to write in English because I will not be looking at the question. I'm involved into only listening to the questions here. So if any sister in Arab, she's sending me a question, I will not be able to look at it. I will not. So you have to put it in English so that our brother Hassan picks it up. If you put it in Arabic, he doesn't understand. Go ahead.
So question 8. Is it permissible for a woman to pay her zakah to her husband if he is a student of knowledge and studying abroad? Is this something that you would recommend if it did not cause animosity between spouses?
The zakah is allowed to be paid from the wife to the husband, but not vice versa. Because we always say, لا يجتمع نفقة مع زكاة. If you are somebody who's under your authority, that you have to spend upon him, you're not allowed to give him zakah. So your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, your wife, you can't. But the wife, she's allowed to pay her sadaqah and her zakat to her husband, just like the wife of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, she paid it to her husband. Now she's saying her husband is a student of knowledge. Now, we don't give zakat to our students of knowledge. We give zakat to him as to be as a poor person. So he's a poor. So, for example, he can't live his life. So he's poor now. So if is your husband poor, okay, some students are rich and some students are poor. Okay. So if he's, for example, going for studies and he can't find himself, is in need of money because of his food and all of that, you give him the money, inshallah, not for the sake of being a student. Remember that. Because we limit the word fi sabilillah for the jihad and the hajj, nothing else. We don't make the sabilillah is just open for giving zakah to the masjid, giving zakah to, for example, an orphan No, no, no. Zakat has to be given to the categories which are listed, the 8 categories. Now, so if he's one of those, okay. So the fuqara, the masakeen, the ones who are working, and the ones who are reconciling their hearts, the ones who are in debt, the ones who are setting free the slave, the ones who are wayfarers, the travelers, and the last one, which is the one who is fi sabilillah, meaning the jihad and the hajj. Now,
Okay, question 10. A sister wants to know if you, Sheikh, know any Urdu Salafi speaking Sheikhs that they can take knowledge from.
this country, I don't Urdu speaking. I mean, I don't know of these brothers who I know they are speaking Urdu. I mean, if you look at Ahl Hadith, mashallah, I met one in one of the conferences of just recently, about 2 months ago. There was so if you look at that, there's Sheikh there, but if he's not in the country, he doesn't speak even English. He only speaks Urdu and Arabic as well, and he is mashallah tabarakallah. So I recommend him. So if you look at the conference, which was done in the north only 2 months ago, you read the names there. One of the names there, the names are the mashallah Salafi scholars. And also I have Imam Zakatullah, Jazakallah khairan, student of knowledge, mashallah tabarakallah. He is in the Imam of Masjid Green Lane. I vote for him. He's very good, mashallah tabarakallah. So you could as well. He speaks the Urdu and the Arabic and the English fluently, mashallah. Now,
Question 11. My father is not a Muslim. You mentioned in another lecture that if you make a will, then I as a Muslim can inherit from him after his death. What do I do if he doesn't make a will, and according to the law, I will inherit half of it, but I won't be able to touch it? So what do I do? Leave it for non-Muslim relatives, or can I give it to the poor?
her father died already?
No, basically, if he doesn't put her in the will, and
Okay,
she
well,
automatically...
you have to explain to him that I cannot inherit from you. The one of the we would call it complete prevention to make you ineligible to inherit is the difference in religion. We Muslims, we do not inherit or bequeath a non-Muslim. Even if we had in our Islamic state people who are different religion, let's say a man who's got a family who is Jewish and his son turned to Christianity, and they die, one of them die, in the Islamic state, we will prevent the Jewish father to inherit from the son who's Christian, or the son who's Christian to bequeath to his father who is a Jewish. We don't, because the difference of religion breaks the inheritance. Now, if he did not write a will and he died, and then the law of the country had given you from that money, which is inheritance, okay, then that money you could use it for the, you don't leave it to them. You could, unless they need it, you could give them from that. But that money you could, for example, use it for other issues. For example, building toilets for the masajid. Okay, so this money it's not yours, okay, because you can't inherit, but you could use it in a. So it's like somebody giving me. I've taken, for example, money from somebody, and it's not mine, but he basically I could spend it in the halal ways. No problem, inshallah. Now.
Okay, question 12.
By the way, just a last bit for that question. But if you are in dire need for some money, then you could take from that money, which is enough for you. If you are in dire need, then you're able to take from that. Now.
Okay, question 12. How do we seek knowledge with the right etiquette? And how did the female companions, the Salaf, used to seek ilm?
Seek knowledge in the right etiquette. Well, first of all, the most important issue is ikhlas. The person who wants to seek knowledge, he has to have this ikhlas to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that his intention is to please Allah Azza wa Jal. His intention is to remove ignorance from himself in order to worship Allah properly. And also to remove ignorance from other people, so that also, that is, to worship Allah properly. So you have a duty towards yourself to educate yourself, and also whatever you had from this education, it is, you have to as well to give the zakah of it. The zakah is basically, sorry, I just put the speaker far away from me. I think it's better now, isn't it?
Much louder, Sheikh.
Yeah, I know, but you should have told me.
It was fine before, Sheikh.
Right. Basically, we say to the sisters, that when you want to seek the education, you have to make sure that you are seeking it from the right person. Just like the sister question before, can you recommend for me an Urdu teacher? So we ask about the person whom we seek knowledge from. It's not simply because he is a celebrity da'iyah, or he appears and he's got lots of clicks on, on the YouTube. It doesn't mean anything. Actually, it's on the contrary. When I look at the scholars and the real scholars, they only get 1,000, 2,000, maybe 500, 600. These are the real scholars. But the one who's got no knowledge, but he's got a name, he got hundreds of thousands, not to say a million. SubhanAllah. It's just because of the glamorous talk of his and the glamorous looks of his. Whether he's an Arab or not Arab, we have the same problem in the Arabic world as well, the Arab world. It's because he speaks nicely and he moves nicely, and just, SubhanAllah, the people listen to him. And I can give you lots of list of names of those people who are not correct. So we say, switch off the video, please. Yeah. Hassan, the video. Can you put the video off, yeah, Hassan? Please watch. So we could see here that, SubhanAllah, Allah al-Musta'an, that the people are not really trying to learn the knowledge from the right people. So this is important. Just like when somebody comes to marry the hand of your daughter, do you give it to anybody? Well, your deen is more important than your daughter. Your deen is more important than your son who wants to get him married. You want the right wife or the right husband for your daughter. So you want the right man to teach you the way to Jannah. So ikhlas, intention of the niyyah, to remove the ignorance of yours and to remove the ignorance of others, and also that is to make sure that you are taking it from the right people. What was the second part of the question?
How did the female companions, the Salaf, used to seek ilm?
Well, we do have mashayikha, shaykhat nisa, which are women. Even they were teachers of the men. So some of the shuyukh, the scholars, he had in his, teachers, shaykha, so and so. He will not sit in front of her. There will be somehow a barrier. He will be able to listen to her. She will be able to, just like you're listening to me now. Okay, you could see me and I can't see you. Right. So there's a barrier, and as long as there's a barrier where the sisters are, for example, let's say that first of all their laughters and their joking with each other is not audible by the male, because it triggers the lust of the male always. And remember all that as a sister's advice for all of you, okay, regardless of whom is in front of you and how pious he is, okay, he's got desires towards the woman. It is natural. It's natural. The women, usually the sisters, are the ones who are, sometimes they put their guards down. And once they put their guards down, then the man will jump, because he will think that you want him. So as long as you're respecting yourself, as long as you are talking to him in a proper manner, then he will hold. But if you lower your thing down, you start speaking in a way, okay, فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٌ, the one who's got some sort of illness in his heart, he will take advantage straight away. So the people used to ask the mothers of the believers. They are mothers of the believers, but it doesn't mean mothers of the believers are allowed to see them. The mothers of the believers are not allowed to marry them. Okay, it's just like now a wife of my friend. I'm not allowed to marry until he divorces her or he dies. Same thing, the mothers of the believers, they're not allowed to be married at all. They are the wives of the Prophet in their lives, and the wives of the Prophet after in Jannah. So the people used to approach these women and ask them questions. And Aisha used to tell them the answer, but there was a barrier. And she would tell them the answer straight with a straight sound. And that's why we say as well, if you're a woman, she's behind a man who's a stranger, and she's praying, and he had made a mistake in the Quran, she could correct him in the Quran, no problem. But when it comes to correct the actions, he went to sujood instead of ruku', she corrects him with clapping. Because the Prophet said, "At-tasbihu lirijal wa at-tasfiqu lin-nisa." For the men, say Subhanallah, and he goes to wrong action. Okay, the women say tasfiq, that means clapping. So the women, they will clap. As for rectification or fixing the recitation, there is no such thing. Subhanallah. If somebody said Alif Lam Mim Al-Kitabu instead of Dhalika Al-Kitabu, nobody will say Subhanallah. They will say Alif Lam Mim Dhalika Al-Kitab. Same thing for the sisters as well. No, problem.
Question 13. Could you recommend books of
Can I
fiqh?
ask you as well, those questions to do with long, like advice, what is their advice? Avoid them now. Let's just go to the question, halal, haram, and quick ones. Yalla.
Okay. Could you recommend books of fiqh to study for issues pertaining to women, e.g. pregnancy, menstruation, in English or Arabic?
If you are an Arab, then you've got the key. Okay, so I would urge you for the Arab, for the sisters who they want to do about the pregnancy and there's a book. It's called Al-Mawsu'a Al-Fiqhiyya in Arabic. Al-Mawsu'a Al-Fiqhiyya Al-Muyassara للشيخ حسين العوايشة, and that is at the moment is 8 volumes because the Sheikh is increasing all the time volume. It's 8 volumes, and in it there is a discussion, proper discussion regarding the pregnancy and the breastfeeding and all of that, and the fasting chapter, all of that. Also, there is kitab, another one, Sahih Fiqh Sunnah. Sahih Fiqh Sunnah, and this book is for the Sheikh Abu Malik Kamal. He's an Egyptian. Sahih Fiqh Sunnah, and it's very good. It's about 5 volumes, and it's got lots of things as well, details, and it will tell you even the madhahib and which one is closer to the haqq. As for the Mawsu'a al-Muyassara al-Fiqhiyya, Sheikh Hussein Awasha, there's a tale there of what Sheikh al-Albani's opinion as well. He will list all the opinions as well and what the Sheikh al-Albani rahmatullah used to say. So it's a good book because this Sheikh, he was so close to the Sheikh and he used to ask him questions and he put his answers into his book. طيب, as for the English, we have limited, but we do still have enough, mashallah. We have the book of Al-Wajiz, and that doesn't really talk a lot about how al-Murda. It's only about 5-6 lines. And as well, we have the Fiqh Sunnah. Fiqh Sunnah, mashallah, is a good book. Always carry with it, and that is Tamam al-Minna, the elaboration of Sheikh al-Albani, في التعليق على فقه السنة. Those are the books I would recommend. And there is as well, I've seen a translation of the Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan fiqh book, in which it's a 2-volume English, and it's big volumes, mashallah, is very good. Okay, but you're going to find some controversial issues regarding, as I said, al-hamil wal-murda, which is regarding the fasting of the pregnant or the breastfeeding women. Now,
okay, question 14. Can you give us some questions, good questions to ask the person who you are seeking to marry in marriage meetings?
you mean the sister? The
sister. What questions you can ask? Good one.
Sister should not be asking. It's only the sister should be, answering. As for the question, is for the wali. That wali should be doing his homework to ask about the person, ask the brother, and all of this. But for the sister to go and grill, this is now, let me grill him instead of him. I'm finding that some of the meetings, that the brother's putting his head down and the sister's looking at him like this. So to be the other way around. Okay, I was really orchestrating some of the meetings between them. I thought, brother is like shy, and I want to grill him, I want to ask him. So I would say to the sisters, most important, the wali, what did he come up with? The report. Okay. Now, you will never be able to know the brother from 1 or 2 questions. You will never. So once mashallah, it's a good family, good person, good everything, then it comes now to the meeting, which is that you like him, you like him. The attraction between you, both of you, that's the attraction. But what do you like for cooking? What do you like for, you like curry? Oh, I don't like curry. Is spicy or not spicy? I mean, everybody can adapt to these things. These things are adaptable. Somebody maybe came from a spicy background, he ended up no spicy. Somebody was no spicy, ended up to be spicy. Like I myself, I wasn't spicy. I became the most spiciest person maybe on the face of the earth. Maybe. I eat the Scotch chili and everything. But before I wasn't. So I had to adapt to my environment as well. So I became here in this country, I became more Pakistani than Pakistanis. So these things that were not really, it's not helpful in the such meetings. Oh, I'm not going to marry him. Why? Because he doesn't like Bakora. Subhanallah. These are the things. So the most important things is he is, mashallah, good character. You're not going to find your white knight. The white knight is in your dreams. There's no such thing. And we tell the brothers, you're not going to find that lady that you really want to sew her, like tailor her exactly as she wants. No way. Okay, some of the sisters, for example, when they were young, they were asking me to get a husband, second husband, third husband, to be. She doesn't want. She wants a list. That she was a big list, and because she is, professional wise, in her profession, really high, so it's a big list. She's 25. She became 26, 27. She put down some of her, conditions from her list, and she is now. I don't know how old she's 36, 37. 35. She's not married, and that list is now crunched. Anybody, I want anybody. Okay, so the most important is to marry somebody whom is, as the Prophet said, "Man atakum tardawna dinahu wa amanata, dinahu wa khuluqa." The one who accepts his deen, religion, and his manners. His manners, like for example, is he a person who loses his temper very quickly, even if he's religious? Or is a person who's calm? Is a person, okay, what is he? Is he stingy? Not stingy? So, for example, Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, religion-wise, mashallah. So when one of the women, she had, her husband died, and people, they came to marry her. One is called Muawiyah, and the other one is called Abu Jahm. So she went to the Prophet. Which one? Prophet said, as for Muawiyah, he's got no money. Abu Jahm, he doesn't let go of his stick. He always beats up the women. He's not really good conduct. And Kihi Usam, marry Usam. Usama was black. Okay, so she married him. Okay, she married him, even though there was a difference in culture-wise and color-wise and everything. She married him. Allah put lots of abundance in it. So that's the manners, deen. Because al-haya'u wal-iman qurana. إذا ذهب أحدهما ذهب الآخر. Iman and the modesty are together. If one of them go, the other one will go out of the. So you'll find somebody old religion has modesty. If got no modesty, no akhlaq, his religion is not good, not correct. There's something wrong there. Now.
Okay, question 15. Can you give a sandwich to 10 people to expiate a broken oath, since that's the average lunch meal? And do you have to give it to someone from your residing country?
One sandwich?
Yeah, give a sandwich to 10 people. I don't know.
not one sandwich. I mean sandwich to each.
I think they mean 10. Yeah.
There's one sandwich for 10 people. Well, as long as the sandwich that you want to give is, a meal, that means you can feed him. So if it's a sandwich, these sandwiches were like a toast one, it's not going to be enough. Okay, but there is, mashallah, the tamis, the Afghani, mashallah, bread. That's a big sandwich. That's really massive, mashallah. So it depends. So as long as it's a meal, it's a meal. It'am. It'am means you satisfy him. You don't give him half a meal, half a sandwich. No, fadl.
Okay, then next sister's written about 4 questions. So I'm only going to do the first one. If we have time, we'll go back to the other ones. Basically, how do we line up behind the imam? Is it evenly to the right and left, or should more people be on the right?
Okay, so this is a sister question, and as well as a brother's question. There's no such thing we have to be balancing the imam. It's like the imam is flying, and if you go on one side, you might have to go and tilt like this with his wings. No. Formerly, the companions used to love to pray on the right of the imam. Okay, and some of them different, but it doesn't mean that if we have, for example, let's say we come to the imam and he had more people on the right, okay, and less people on the left. Let's say we had about, on his left, let's say I'm an imam here, I'm having 2 people here, and I'm having 10 people here. It doesn't mean that if I have to come on the left, because I have to balance it. I could come to the right, no problem. Okay? But the problem is that you don't have anybody here on the left. And everybody's lining up this way. That's not correct. There has to be some people. But as for the word wasitul imam, as make the imam in the middle, that's not a hadith sahih. It's not authentic. Okay? It would be more of a technical issue. If I fill up this side, okay, then I will be more of relaxed rather than to go to that side, for example, or I will give more option to the other people to go to that side. So it's a choice, but it's not really to do with you have to make the imam in the middle. Now.
Okay, question 20. What advice could you give to a younger sister who suffers from a chronic illness? How can she reconcile between accepting the qadr of Allah and not being able to fast in Ramadan or have children because of strong medication? How can she strive to be patient upon this?
I mean, you have to be patient. That's a must upon you to be patient regarding the qadr of Allah. That Allah Azza wa Jal had given you that. Is it a health issue? Yes? Hassan, is it a health issue?
Yeah, chronic health issue.
Chronic health issue. So it's chronic, that means long term. So if it is that, you have to be qadr Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are patient, Allah will give you the Jannah. So if I'm going to ask you to help yourself, then look at the companions. That woman, she had epilepsy. And she came to the Prophet ﷺ, Messenger of Allah, I have an epilepsy. Make dua for me. I don't think you have epilepsy. You have chronicle, but this epilepsy, that means the person falls down and acts bizarrely and behaves in a way which is, you don't want to look at it. So she says, Messenger of Allah, call upon Allah Azza wa Jal to help me with this. He said, well, if you wish, I'll do that. I'll call. And then when I call upon Allah, maybe, most likely, maybe Allah Azza wa Jal will respond, maybe not. But he didn't say, I will call. But if you be patient on what you've got, that means the qadr of Allah, then Allah will give you Jannah. She said, I will not make Jannah at stake. Khalas. But when she was about to leave, she said, Messenger of Allah, just make dua that when I'm having this illness, which is epilepsy, not to expose my aura. Because when you are an epilepsy, as I said, you don't know what you're doing. So she could be exposing her body, her aura, something going to come out of her. So the Prophet made only dua, partial dua, which is that if she's got the epilepsy, not to uncover herself. Why? Because she wants Jannah. Same thing with another woman. When the Prophet of Allah came to the companions to visit them when they were when they were in their fever, they had a fever. So he used to visit them and to ask for dua for them. Then he left. One of the women, she said, Messenger of Allah, we are from Ansar as well, from the inhabitants of Medina. You didn't come to us. So you didn't make dua. He said, well, if you wish, I could make dua. But if you want, you be patient and Jannah is yours. She said, I will not make Jannah and put Jannah at stake. I'm not going to gamble with Jannah. Khalas. So she left and she went behind. And she didn't want the dua. So I would say to you, sister, be patient. And Jannah is, and I cannot say Jannah is yours because I'm a prophet. But on behalf of the Prophet, he said, if you are patient regarding your qadr, and this is your qadr, I'm not saying to you not to seek medication. It's different. Because for Vali, that woman, she said, I will be patient on the Jannah, but she sought as well the dua for not to be uncovered. Prophet said, Ibadallah tadaw. Oh, slaves of Allah, go and seek medicine. Yes, do medicine. If there's a medicine, seek a medicine. Okay? So, but I'm telling you what is the best. You could seek ruqya, but the ruqya will take you outside the 70,000 who will enter paradise without reckoning, without punishment. Now.
Okay, question 22. If a woman was living separately from her husband for 2.5 years, applies for khula, and the abusive husband does not comply, what can or should she do? Is the advice any different if there are children involved?
If she's in this country, she'll raise her matter to the Muslim Council. And there's lots of Muslim councils at the moment, but the one in Regent Park, they are very good. You just go and raise your matter. I don't think you're going to have any problem because you've got 2.5 years of separation. This will take the matter maybe 6 months maximum. You have to pay them a fee of maybe £400. They will take the case and they will write to that person. If they don't really find any response from him, if they don't really find that he's not cooperating on all of that, then they will pass divorce upon you straight away, even that he doesn't want to. But if it is in your country, whatever the country is, you have to apply there in that country. And I think it will be much easier in a Muslim country than in a non-Muslim country because there the authority is much stronger. So I had a case myself a long time ago when I was the Imam of High Wycombe. A case was in somebody in Oxford, a woman was a revert, she's married to this person and he left her for 8 years, not 2.5 years. And she couldn't really divorce or she couldn't really as well marry. Until somebody brought me the case. I said, what is this? I said, I talked to the husband, he's not in this country. I talked to their family. They said they don't care. I spoke to the father. I said, if you want. I said, I'm not going to pass the divorce. That's it. So I wrote a divorce onto her and then she's divorced and she's now, because she's 8 years, her husband, no communication whatsoever. Now.
Okay. Question 24. I have a Muslim friend who has a lot of doubts about the religion and is always asking questions regarding small things. And I don't know how to help her with the doubt she has. What can I do to help?
always focus upon Tawheed. Don't live little things. She wants to enter Islam, focus upon Tawheed. So she's going to ask you why the man is allowed to marry 4 women and the woman is not allowed to marry 4 men. What is this? I'm going to solve this question. You're going to come up with another question. Why is it? It's endless. Talk about Tawheed. If you believe in Allah, then khalas, you submit. So I want to make sure that you know that there's a creator. Now, fadl.
Okay, 25. Can you change the date you pay zakah? So, for example, if you always paid zakah in Ramadan, can you then decide to pay in Muharram and continue paying in Muharram from then on, or is this not allowed?
You're allowed as long as you don't really make the savings longer than a year. Do you understand me? So if you have a saving now, let's say, because people they think that paying the zakah in Ramadan is more rewardable. It's incorrect. So it depends upon my threshold. Let's say my threshold is I've reached now £4,000. Threshold is about 3,500. So I got that. I got it today. So the following year, like today, I will pay my zakah. I cannot postpone it. I cannot postpone it. Can I pay the zakah before it's due? Yes, I can. But when I do that, I have to recalculate onto that time. So let's say I paid at the beginning of Ramadan. That's about 5-6 days before. But when I reach this day, which is the 7th, 4th of Ramadan, 5th of Ramadan, if I reach this day and my money is still the same, alhamdulillah. But if it's increased, then I have to pay the difference because I haven't paid for the full year. So it depends upon your threshold. Now,
question 26. How do you best advise an elder who does not pray?
An elder, bring him elders. Because you're an elder, he's not going to listen to you. Somebody's older than him. Now.
In 27, in a previous lecture, you mentioned playing with dice was haram. Could you please explain this again, as I can't remember the reason you mentioned as to why it's haram? Jazakallah khair.
Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, number of hadith, one of them, Sunan Abi Dawood, or the Prophet ﷺ, he who plays with the nard, he had disobeyed Allah and his messenger. And the Prophet ﷺ also, he said, which is a hadith authenticated by our Shaykh al-Albani, that if the person had played with the nard, it's like he had dipped his hand into the blood of the swine. Now, nard is basically is upon luck. That's why it's haram.
Okay, so linked to that question, the following sister asked the following up question. What about, is it qira or something? Draw, to draw. Qaf, ra, ain, ta.
Qur'ah.
Okay.
Go on.
So they're asking, what about that? Is that permissible?
Yeah, Qur'ah is not with the dice. Dice is not. Qur'ah is something that you do it when you need to do it. So for example, you have 4 wives and you're traveling, but you're not going to travel 4 travels. You're going to travel once, as the Prophet used to do. So he used to make Qur'ah. Which one? So he will put, for example, that 3 pens like this. Okay, so this 3 pens like that. This represents Aisha. This represents Hafsa. This represents Habiba, Habiba. Which one? Okay, picked up this one. Oh, this is Aisha, for example. That's Qur'an. It's not, we're going to be playing. No, this is Qur'an, because Prophet ﷺ, he said, if the people know what good lies for them in the adhan and in the first row, and they couldn't find any way to get it except by drawing lots, they would have done so. Now these people these days in the front row, they will offer to come here. Companions will not offer you. They will come to always fill up the first row, because the Prophet said, al-malaika, the angels will invoke forgiveness for the first row. يصلون على الصف الأول. So they will be fighting for the صف الأول. على الصف الثاني, but it will be less. Second row. So if these people came at the same time and the row is, just only for them, let's say the row is enough for 10. They arrive 10 together. Okay? Then they will not offer one another. Oh, you could go. No. Draw lots. This is drawing lots. But you're talking about something else. You're talking about game. There's no such thing, drawing lots and having a game of which one is come to the. Let's have a draw all the time. Who's going to go to the first row? It's not correct. This is a game you're playing. Okay? A game. All right? Which that is. So the drawing lots is to see, to be fair, because other person will complain. Okay? The other person, why did you took him? You didn't talk me to travel to the journey. Well, that it is. But when it comes to the game, you are lucky, you are lucky, you are, and it will be fight. Now,
Okay. Can a diabetic sister separate from her husband? Sorry, can a diabetic sister who's separated from her husband and had a daughter with no income and she's living with her mum pay a fidya? If yes, can her mum pay on her behalf or someone else?
can a sister, again,
Oh,
stay
she's
with the
basically,
question.
yeah,
Stay with the
she's
question.
can a diabetic sister who's separated from her
So,
husband?
because the link is it. So the diabetic sister, that means she's got chronic illness, and she's
Yeah.
been advised by the doctors not to fast because the diabetic is 1 and 2. So I don't know which one. So if it's the diabetic was where you're able to fast, okay, and it does not affect you, okay, and it's not chronical, it's just like short term, then you will go, then you have to fast unless you are tired and then you compensate. But if it's the long term chronicle, whether it's severe but long term, then you have the option of either to fast as long as you don't really oppose the doctor's advice, if it's not jeopardizing your life, or if you don't want to fast, there is qada. Sorry, there's fidya. There is no such thing. You can't compensate because it's chronic illness. Just like that's why there's the hamil al murda. They don't compensate by they making up the missed day. They always pay the fidya. Same thing here because the murda and the hamil, she's breastfeeding is 2 years. After 2 years, she's going to be pregnant. After pregnant, she's going to be breastfeeding. So when is she going to compensate? When is she going to compensate? That's why the open the door for her for paying the fidya, the ransom, the fidya, which is feeding a poor person. So we say that to that sister, yes, the fidya. Now, what's the question?
So basically, she's asking if because she's separated from her husband and lives with her mother, can her mum pay on her behalf or someone else pay on her behalf?
Right. So I understand that her husband separated from her. That means divorced her. Because separation, I don't know the word. The separation, what does it mean these days? Is it separation, divorce or not divorce? So if it is if it's not divorce, her husband should pay. Let's say her husband is not paying, then if she is herself poor, she can't give fidya. The fidya is feeding a poor person. It's not really that much money. And in our country, it's not really that much money. So 2 kilos of rice, what is that? Talking about £1 for each day, £1.50. So if you can't give that fidya, no fidya on you because you can't feed poor people because you're unable. You are a poor person yourself, and that is what the companions when used to be having nothing. They will wait for the Prophet. So if somebody gave you zakah or sadaqah, and you had money now, you start making the fidya. So if you had no money, nothing, you don't have to. But if somebody else want to make sadaqah on you, like with your mother, no problem. Your mother, she could pay on your behalf. As long as it is with your consent. You are accepting that, inshallah. Now.
Can you take vitamin supplements that have gelatin capsules?
Gelatin is halal, ya khawati. Sisters, please, gelatin is halal. Gelatin is chemically processed to something else. It's not having the ingredients that it has before. Just like when we have wine and grape juice. Grape juice, if it turns to wine, even it's made from the grapes, but it's haram. But when it's grape juice, it is halal. So the grape juice, I could make it haram. So this is called in Arabic al-istihala. Al-istihala means transformation. It has transformed. So this gelatin, please, the word gelatin means nothing. Whether it's gelatin out of halal, not halal, pork gelatin, it's called gelatin. Okay? So I don't bring the word pork to my house because of the pork. But if they just put gelatin and it was pork, it's halal for me. I will eat it. Because there's no pork in it, ya akhwan. There's no pork. It's something else. And let's say for the sake of argument of those people who are still insisting on this, what is the quantity of gelatin into that thing that you are eating? Let's say, or some of you had an ice cream or a sweet with gelatin from the cow. How many people have tasted the meat of the cow when they have eaten sweets or they had an ice cream? Tastes like a cow meat. Nobody. Okay? So when you have that ice cream, it's still ice cream. When you have that chocolate, it's still chocolate. You don't feel the thing which is they talk about animal and goats and side. No. So the quantity, even if it is not transformed, let's say it is impure, the quantity is not going to pollute the whole item, the product. It's like a tank of water where there's a drop of urine, 2 drops of urine, 5 drops of urine. It's not going to pollute it. Huh? So maybe you're going to be disgusted if you see, but if the water still tastes the same, smells the same, color is the same, it's water. Maybe it's what you didn't know that somebody had put some drops of his own urine, you urinated in it, but because it's a big massive pool, you couldn't see it. It's just mixed up. So this impurity had basically disappeared into that halal item. But I'm just saying it is not even impure, it's pure because it's transformed to something else. Haribo, sweets I bring to the children. When you bring the Haribo, which is called the halal gelatin, and the one which has got just gelatin from the normal shop, the one who's got gelatin is much tastier than the one who's got halal gelatin. It's called Haribo and Haribo. Why? The one who's got gelatin, but doesn't say halal. But the one that says halal, doesn't say it's nice. It's just rubbish. Another one tastes much tastier. I don't know why. So for me, gelatin halal, ikhwani, 100%. No problem about that. You could question me on the day of resurrection regarding this issue. Nah.
Can I pay zakat towards a water well, or do you have to give it as money?
You cannot give zakat to water well. The zakat has to go to the categories which I mentioned. So if, for example, you gave it to a poor person and the poor person decided to make a will, he doesn't make a will. But it cannot. It's like giving the zakat to an orphan. An orphan is an adult. Why you want? So to give him the zakat to the orphan, I have to know maybe this orphan rich. If he's poor, I give it to him. I cannot give it to him. Let's say, for example, he studies. I'm going to bring him zakat to, for example, bring his books. And no, you give him the money and he will decide what to do. Or the person who is looking after the orphan and taking care of when he's poor himself, then you can give it to him, and then he will decide what to do. So the money which is allocated zakat in your money is not yours. So وَفِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. In their money there is a amount which is due right, not for you, for those people. So it's not your money, it's their money. They want to do whatever they want to do. So you give them the money, they want to, for example, bring food, they're going to bring fairy liquid, they're going to bring whatever they want. It's their money. So you give it to them. Now.
Okay. A sister has a thyroid problem that they are not medicating her yet for, but eventually her body will eat away at her thyroid gland and therefore have no gland. She's trying to fast, but she gets a buildup of acid in her stomach, but she is trying. She wanted to know if she has to fast.
So she's basically, if she's got thyroid, that means that she's going to be having acids and reflux problems. Yeah. I think the reflux problems are basically, I would say, they're not really that hurtful. It's up to her. If she's chronic, she's got the right to chronic illness, and basically the doctors told her as well that it's not good for you to be fasting. Then she has the right to break her fast and not to compensate, but to pay the fidya. But I know that the person is able to, sometimes accommodate for that heartburn. It depends upon her. She's the decider for herself. Now.
Okay. This one
Question
says,
number what? Question number what now?
I've lost track now. These are extra ones. So,
yeah.
Can a married woman who had her money saving pay zakatul fitr?
No, zakat al-fitr is only be paid by the husband, not her. Unless she is the holder, that means there's no husband. She's running the house. Yes, but the zakat al-fitr is only from the husband. So the husband is to pay zakat al-fitr on his behalf, and his children, and his wife, and every single person who lives in his house, from the mother and the father, they are under his authority. Now, is that the question?
Yeah, I mean, it says, can a married woman who had her money saving pay zakatul fitr?
Yeah, but nothing to do with zakat savings.
Yeah. Okay.
Zakat al-fitr is to be paid by the husband. Now, she
okay,
could give it. She could pay it and tell the husband, I want to pay it. If he accepts, yes, she could pay it with the consent of her husband. Now.
Okay. I couldn't fast last year due to pregnancy. I've learned if you can't fast due to a temporary condition such as pregnancy, you make it up when you are no longer in that condition. But I heard you say you pay fidya, not make up. Is there a difference of opinion on this?
I've answered this question at the beginning, Sheikh. I've just said the difference. There are 5 differences of opinions, not 1, 5.
Okay.
We've answered this question. We said that yes, she doesn't have to make up. No, making up the fast is for us is wrong, because Abdullah ibn Abbas, because Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma, and others, they said they pay the fidya and do not make up for the fast. Either they fast or they make up the fidya. They don't have to make up. So if they didn't fast, they pay the fidya. There is a difference of opinion, of course, huge difference. There's one who would say if she's afraid of herself, or she's afraid of the child, or afraid of the self and the child, or afraid of the self and the child and the baby. So there's difference of opinion. Now,
when a woman is not fasting due to menses, what ibadah can she do other than reading the Quran?
Dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Cooking as well. Okay, so she would be the most important thing for the sisters when they are on their menses, not to show the children that they are not fasting. So they want to break their fast on their own, because the children, they cannot really know why she's telling us to fast and yet she's not fasting. So make sure that you don't really break your fast in front of the children. Now,
Sheikh, this is a question from yesterday, and the sister's desperate for an answer. Is it okay to? It's a little bit long, but can I ask it?
A little bit long. It's gonna be. We are coming to the end. It's 2 minutes left.
No. So.
Really long is not good.
Okay. I'm just going back to the questions on the thing, then the speech.
Yes, you can move to the question.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. What should a wife do if her husband is refusing to pay zakah due to financial pressures, even though it is due, and the husband is not practicing Islam properly?
Well, you married him like this, so you have to be patient with him until he gets on the straight path. But you think that he's not getting to the straight path, you could ask him for khula. So that's the end of the story. But the thing is that because you were patient when you were married him, you were not religious as well. So if you're together not religious and you became religious, mashallah, and he's not, be patient and keep other people to advise him, inshallah. But it doesn't mean that if he does not pay zakah or he does not pray, is automatically divorced. Okay, so we say, advise him. If you think that you've reached the limit, you could ask him for khula. Now,
okay, is it normal not to have any friends? Whenever I keep friends, I get negative influence by them when they follow or practice anything that's not permissible in Islam.
Prophet ﷺ, he said, the person who mixes up with the people and being patient regarding their shortcomings is better than the person who does not mix up with the people. So it's up to you. So if you don't want to mix up with the people, it's up to you. But if you want to mix up with the people and you be patient there regarding their misconducts and all of that, you'll be more rewarded, inshallah. Now,
the vinegar that is manufactured in Muslim countries, is it halal as vinegar manufactured in Western countries is converted from alcohol?
Wallahi, the vinegar where it is being manufactured, even if it's in Chinese Corona, that vinegar is called vinegar. That means the opposite of alcohol. It's called vinegar. So it's vinegar, white spirit vinegar, white wine spirit vinegar. Doesn't matter how much you put it. It's called vinegar. That means it's the opposite of the alcohol. And that's why you find the vinegar always in the soft shelves, not in the alcohol section. If it was from the alcohol section, then you're going to find it in the alcohol section. Okay? So it is in the soft products. You could find it there. That's the vinegar. No problem. Now,
do you pay fidya in the country you live, or can you pay it somewhere else?
You can pay it wherever you want.
Sorry. Also, who pays the fidya for a breastfeeding woman? Does she pay it herself or the husband?
Husband, of course. Always the husband. Breastfeeding. She got breastfeeding to his children. Subhanallah. She's pregnant with his own children. Okay, he pays the zakah. He is the nafaqah. He is the spender. Now,
sometimes we have to play with dice in maths class for the sake of deriving possibility maths. Is this permissible?
We keep away from the dice to play as a game. If you want to learn the probabilities, can't we do that probability without the dice? Without holding it? Can we just make a probability? I mean, why does it have to be 1 to 6? Okay, the probability, I mean, I learned probability and I'm very good in maths. I didn't hold the dice. I didn't really use a dice. So I don't need to have a dice. a probability. What is the probability of getting 1 out of 6? Okay, so now.
If someone's been negligent with salah in the past and has missed salah due to negligence, can they do qada and make up for it? Also, rather than doing tarawih, should they make up and catch up with the salahs they missed?
I don't understand the tarawih bit, but if the person who had missed some prayers from the past, he doesn't, a long time ago, when before he was not committed to the deen, what he has to do is just pray, repent to Allah, praise obligatory, and add his voluntary. His voluntary, inshallah, will compensate for his obligatory. And what was that regarding the tarawih?
Oh, so they're saying instead of praying tarawih, can they make up for the ones that they missed?
No. They can, after they missed, which is a long time ago, you just make a repentance to Allah Azza. You don't have to worry. Okay, now we have to leave you. Jazakumullah khair, because we've got only about 7-8 minutes. This is for you to specify that time for the dua. And inshallah, and I'm really happy that the sisters had got involved. I would have wished for you to ask the question directly, but if you want, inshallah, we'll have every other Thursday, so that's not the following Thursday, the one after, we'll have a session as well for only the sisters, inshallah. Subhanakallah bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Jazakumullahu khairan.